Well, it's later in the afternoon, more towards evening, and it's the 3rd of May, and it's about time to plant my potatoes. We're going to be planting 4 varieties today. We've got the russets. These are all seed potatoes. I got the local garden center, and we're going to be planting some, it's called red Pontiac, these guys here. And then we've got a couple more varieties in here, which are called Kennebuck. And then we've got Yukon Golds. So first we got to do is get the trenches all ready to go. Like I said, I turned these beds over a couple weeks ago when the winter ryegrass was growing. I gave it some compost on top. Got this all turned in. I'm going to go ahead and run the hoe down here. Get this opened up. So I go down probably about 4 or 5 inches down. It's rotted up pretty well already. I'm really surprised. And a little bit of winter ryegrass seed in it. I mean, winter ryegrass isn't going to hurt anything much. That'll just get pulled out later on. We got 4 beds like this. 2 in this here. Once again, I got the leeks coming in the middle. I went ahead and planted some spinach in between there. Leeks take a little while longer to come up, so we had the burlap down, keep things moist to get a nice head start. And then we got another row of potatoes down further, which we'll get to that in a few minutes. We'll work on this first. I'm gonna go make some trenches to put the potatoes in. There we go, almost got this done. This row is ready to go here. Went down about 6 inches down, and just a few more runs in this row here to get it down the depth I need to go. And I'll review with you basically how I prepare the beds for potatoes. You can plant potatoes, this time of year, absolutely. Even if you didn't get a chance to do the fall preparation, which I tend to like to do. Start back in the fall with putting compost if needed. If not, I'll put compost in the spring, which I did this year because I didn't have enough last year to do so. But no lime goes in the potatoes because it causes what's called scab. Scab, once again, is a little like a black scaly substance that gets on the outside of the skin. I guess it's edible, but doesn't make it very attractive. Doesn't give it a nice smooth skin to the potato. So we go ahead and plant the winter ryegrass on the bed in the fall after giving some organic fertilizer, all-purpose fertilizer, organic. And then we go ahead and during the winter time, we do burn with some supplement wood stove heat once in a while, quite often actually. And so I'll use the wood ashes in winter time on top of the snow where the potatoes are going to be, which is this bed here, and then the other bed, which is right up here, which we're getting into in a second. This one right here. And from there, we go ahead in the spring. I put some compost on top of the winter ryegrass that was coming up. That smothered it down, and then I turned this underneath a couple days later. Let it sit for about a week or so, and now we're just going to plant the potatoes to get the trenches made. And just as easy as that, very simple. Potatoes don't need a lot of extra attention, and I won't fertilize these until they start coming up. I do use a fertilizer from Gardens Alive, which is meant for root crops, potatoes, onions, carrots. Seems to do quite well. I do watch for moles, so I will use a natural retardant in the rows because there's the moles, and the voles will eat the potatoes before they even have a chance of coming up. But they don't seem to be too much of a problem this year. I'm keeping an eye of extra holes in the ground, not seeing that, so that's a good thing. So we'll go ahead and finish getting this prepared, and then we'll plant the potatoes next. We're ready to plant the potatoes. These are raised beds, simply raised beds. I don't have any wooden structures on these. They're just free flowing, and I'm going to do around a foot between each potato. And some people go a little close, like 9 inches. I know if you don't have raised beds, they're probably planted like around 15 inches apart to 18. But because I'm not walking in things, I can just put them right between. Now, some people go ahead and pre-cut these potatoes so there's a couple eyes. I couldn't get these individual, like I like to pick individual potatoes, so I can find more of the smaller sizes like this and just plant them whole. So we're going to definitely have a good potato crop with these size going in. I don't know if it really makes much of a difference, but if you get more potatoes than that from a bigger potato, I've never seen a difference. But I'm just going to plant these things whole every foot. Then you go ahead and put a couple inches on top of it and watch for the potatoes to start coming up. And just that simple like that. There we go, worked out just perfect. Alright, with one left over for, we'll keep this saved for just in case someone gets it. We'll hold it aside just in case something gets it, and we can stick it in a little later on. But so that's how easy that is. And then we're going to go ahead and put a couple inches of dirt on top of them and pack it down. And then as they start growing, you start healing them up, filling in the trench, and then mound them up. And my instructions in my garden fertilizer: when you start seeing the shoots coming up, that's the time to give them the first fertilizing. And then when the flowers start coming up on the vines, on potato vines, that's when you put the next treatment of fertilizer on. And that's where we plant potatoes. Everything's all organic here. No chemicals used ahead of time, nothing needed like that. And there we go. There's a row of about 18 Yukon Golds. I'll probably get about 40, 50 pounds, probably about 40 pounds of potatoes. Everything goes well this year. And we'll continue on planting. Next one's going to be the red Norland. Actually, I just planted the, I'm sorry, that was not Kennebunk. These were the red Pontiac. And the Yukon are going on the other side over here. There we go. I do these marked down on my plot plan, by the way, just so I can keep track of where it's going where. So right here are the potatoes. And so here's the Yukons are there, the Pontiacs are here, and leeks in the middle. I like to mark it so I know what's coming up, and keep track of how they do from year to year. Yukon Golds, got those all laid out nicely, and every foot along here. Like I say, once again, you can go ahead and pre-cut potatoes if they're too big. Just always want to make sure that you have an eye. So you kind of cut between, there's an eye here, cut between here. But you do want to let them sit in the sun over for the day, so that way they get nice and kind of like a callus or healed over. So they build up a little bit of a coating on the cut side, so when you do put them in the garden, they don't get all rotten, because it tends to rot up easily if they haven't calloused over. And that's how we do it. Potatoes all laid out here. End up with 13 in this row. These rows here. These are the russets over here, and these are the Kennebec over here. So we're ready to go ahead and finish hoeing them, pulling the dirt over top of them, and then they're ready to give them a little water in a little bit here, get a little moisture going there. And that's as simple as it is, planting potatoes. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you like it, hit the subscribe button. We have a lot more things coming. And next thing we'll probably do is work with harvesting the asparagus. And the season keeps on growing. Busy time of year for sure. And we'll be back with more.